Howdy folks, LP Guru here signing in for Let's Play Final Fantasy 1 Episode 21. As always, we're picking up right where the previous episode ended. First and foremost, one thing that I forgot to do in the previous episode, and I realized this when I was reviewing things, is that I did not go and purchase spells for our knight. He can use white magic up to level 3. So I'm going to very quickly, fly back to the first few towns in the game and make those necessary purchases, because I would definitely be remiss if I did not do that. Now, I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember vividly if the knight is capable of casting all the same spells, but for the first 3 levels as the white mage / white wizard, but we're gonna find out. We are going to find out. And coming back here now definitely feels like a lifetime ago. Let me check on one more thing before I make any kind of purchases. His intelligence is still very low. Your knight is always going to have, warrior and your knight respectively, is always going to have a very low intelligence stat. So what this means is, unfortunately, even though yes, the warrior, once they become a knight, even though yes, they are capable of casting white magic, bear in mind that the intelligence stat always governs and determines how much, in this case for white magic, how much health is restored. So since the intelligence stat is always relatively low, you don't want to focus on cure, any of the cure spells, any of the heal spells. Here you are much better off with sticking to definitely spells such as, Shield 1 and Blink. But since they only raise, for Blink, raises own evasion, so only the knight would benefit from that spell. Shield 1, same thing, but as we know, same song and dance for the white mage. So it's completely up to you if you spend any money here. Of course, now the Dia spell is only reserved for mage type characters. Even the knight can't use that, but the knight has access to Cure 1, Shield 1, and Blink. So practicing what I have been preaching recently, I'm just going to purchase Shield 1 and Blink for the knight. No need in wasting, even though it's only 50 gil per spell, still there's no need in it. You're better off using the healing staff when you're looking at Cure 1. Now to Provoca. Take a quick look around. If Find the white magic shop. Rinse and repeat here. What's nice though is, typically speaking, it looks like the knight can use everything here. So anything that the white mage and white wizard can use, the same is true for this spell level for the knight. So, as you just witnessed, Lamp, Silence, and Invis 1 were all purchased for the knight. This way, the white mage, or in this case, white wizard, can be properly supported with only having to worry about casting, I think it was Null Bolt for this level. In every other regard, there's Cornelia again. We don't need that. We need Elfheim. And see, I was mistaken. Well, not mistaken, but I just simply straight up forgot in the previous recording that about the knight. Not that the knight could use white magic, just I just forgot to purchase magic for him. What does make it nice is since the Dia spells are not compatible for the knight, you don't have to make that decision. You have 3 spells. Actually, just 2 spells. Just 2 spells. So, makes it even easier. I want to make sure it's just those 2. Yeah, looks like it is. And checking magic one more time. Yeah, we have everything. Trying to remember though, what else is. Okay, yeah, it was Cure 1 that I skipped out on. Alright, and I do believe that up to level 3 is the only white magic. I'll check level 4 just to be safe. Yeah, that's just up to spell level 3. Alright, so since that has been taken care of, we are now ready to travel back to the Waterfall Cavern is its proper name. I remember that too. I think I kept calling it the Waterfall Cave earlier in the previous episode, but Cavern, Waterfall Cavern is its proper name. And here's an even better landing spot that I didn't notice in the past, but I did this time. Just like that. One attack from our master, still taking the enemy out. Alright, I think I have the worm killer equipped, because I think that dragons are, well, not that they're fairly common in this area, but they are the most threatening of the enemies encountered here. So, Worm Killer for the win, most definitely. And as always, the same rule of thumb and practice still applies. Even though the knight is capable of casting magic, first and foremost, he's still a fighter. So that is the precedent. That's where the focus still needs to remain. And yes, I'm sure you noticed this. I noticed it as well when we were in the spell shop, that his MP is at 0. And I'm not 100% sure why that is. It might be because he hasn't reached a certain level yet. I'm honestly not sure. But we will find out soon enough. We've definitely stayed. This will be overkill, but still gonna go for it. We have definitely stayed at the inn in the past, you know, between previous episode and now this episode, so that would definitely, you know, restore any MP that was missing. So that is the only conclusion that I can come to with things, and most of these paths are a dead end. I think there's only one area where all of the treasures and various items are located. But this is a good area to come to if you need to level grind in any way. Just keep in mind that if you are a low enough level, just be careful, because you could very quickly be overwhelmed. But if that's the case, if you are a lower level when you arrive, just stick to the staircase, you know, stay close to the entrance. Of course, also at this point, we do have both of the warp spells, but I'm speaking primarily from the place of if you don't have the money to have purchased either of the warp spells yet, stay close to the stairs. If you have either of the warp spells, you're fine. If you find yourself getting in a tough spot as far as with the fights, if you're getting overwhelmed, just go ahead and cast that spell and get out of here. Get back to town. Otherwise, if you are not in any kind of danger, then this is a really good place to level up. Fights are relatively straightforward, don't take too much time, and they don't really require magic aside from the occasional protective spell. And of course, unless you come across a group of undead monsters, then Dia or fire, whichever. I think we're right under the 4,000 now definitely closer to just the 3,000 experience requirement. So like I say, a single fight can generally land you around 500 experience points. And the more of these clay golems we run into, the more experience we receive. Normally, around 500 experience wouldn't be a significant amount at this point in the game, at the level that we are, but it's how quickly these fights are concluded that makes everything significant. And of course, 3 of these being encountered is almost 1,000 experience. So I'm not going to try to take advantage and level up too much, but I would be lying if I said that I'm not going to level up some. It's just too good of an opportunity to pass up. And again, you won't regret that decision in the future. Okay, chat, let's snort blinds a character. In a previous episode, I said, because I just wasn't sure, what it did. I thought it may have been an instant death, instant KO kind of attack, but it's not. It's not. Not that it's snot. No play on words intended there. It is not, is what I had said. And we just keep on getting closer and closer to a level up, down into the 1500 range. So depending on the monsters we encounter, of course, this could be about 3 more fights. Or more. Or less. Just depends on what we encounter. But you can definitely tell when you have reached a certain point in the game, because under normal circumstances, protected spells wouldn't need to be cast at all, but here, almost every fight, they're being used just to be safe. So that just proves the caliber of enemies that are now being experienced. Not taking any chances. And they're dead. Again. And it's time to level up. Yeah, there we go. That was my theory, and I was correct. Wasn't sure if I was correct, but I thought that may be the case. So yeah, it looks like level 35 is the starting point for the night. As you can see, now all 3, each of the 3 spell levels that he's capable of casting magic from now have a 1 after them. Of course, that's how it would play out after we have rested up and everything, and I can't use any of it because I don't have the MP for it. Make sure, yeah, my controller decided to select a different and target for some reason. That's what I was hoping for. I was trying to take those pyro lists out first. And I'm very glad that our knight was able to block the attack with this shield, because I do believe they have a very high success rate of inflicting stone status. So I'm definitely glad. That sounded kind of weird when I first said it, but I'm definitely glad that did not happen. Alright, this is another type of weapon with a special attribute, I think. But it's just, I don't know. I'm going to go into items really quick and look around. Okay, it's a staff. Okay, staff with muddle effect. Okay, so it's another. Okay, well, yes, to special attribute, but not like that built into the sword for the knight, but an actual battle item that can be used that has a special effect. And the Fabled Ribbon, which is a super important item. It is a staple that is found throughout the majority of the Final Fantasy series. And in this case it says it sometimes protects from special attacks, but that's definitely better than no protection. And with that being the case, let's see where it's considered a helmet. I think it is, yeah. So I don't think it has any proper defensive, parameters. It doesn't change any of the stats. But out of all of your characters, your white wizard should be the one that you equip it on, for reasons that should be very self-explanatory. And wow, over 13,000 gil. I will take it. Now I'm sure there's going to be a trigger encounter around here somewhere, and I think this is it. Is this it? Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell. It happened right in front. It happened right in front of the chest, so it's really hard to tell if it was an actual trigger encounter or if it just happened to be a random encounter that happened in front of a treasure chest. It does happen. Definitely glad it's being recorded as proof that it can happen. But what I was saying about the ribbon a few minutes ago is that for what should be self-explanatory reasons, since it grants some protection against special attacks, it's best to give it to your white wizard. That way you at least have some protection against status elements. But it applies to every status element in the game. It's not 100% protection against them. And it may only be 50%. I'm not really sure as to the exact percentage. But some percentage is better than none. And it's really going to come in handy to help protect against the white wizard being inflicted with stone status. I won't rehash all that. There's a whole topic that I that I went into detail on in an earlier episode. Not sure as to the exact episode, but yeah. I will spare everyone from rehashing that. And defenders, I think that's a weapon. Yeah, there we go. I passed it. Sword with blink effect. Again, if you don't equip it, anyone in the party can use it. If you do equip it, in this case on the knight, then only the knight can use it in battle, the blink capability. And yes, it is an upgrade. Attack power stronger, accuracy stat is higher, but we have yet to run into, I think they're called green dragons. It's the most powerful monster in this dungeon. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I don't know if he's sorting out. He's spazzing out. Or what, but yeah, I'm going to try to get us away from this area just to be safe. Yes, the warp cube, I think is what it's called, that we were just given, grants entry to the dungeon that is going to house the wind crystal, I believe. It's either wind or air. I'm honestly not sure which word is used to reference that crystal, but we're not at that point. But this is the main takeaway from this area. That is the main, that's the main object that we're after. In addition to, unless I'm mistaken, no, I think the Rosetta Stone that we were told about, I think it's in a future. I think it's in a future dungeon. But that's really weird because I really did think that we were told about the Rosetta Stone, as far as it being located here in the Waterfall Cavern. Nope, I'm mistaken. It's not here. It's not here. Even though I thought it was, but let's chalk it up to yet another time when I was wrong. But now, anyone, please feel free to sound off in the comments, because I know, and I believe it was the previous episode, that we encountered someone, I think in Onlak, that was talking about it, the Rosetta Stone. But of course I simply could have misread the destination where that is supposed to be found. I could have thought that I read it, here in the Waterfall Cavern, and it being in the Sunken Shrine instead. I think the Sunken Shrine was another location mentioned. Right under 14,000 experience to level up. And normally, even though I have said everything that I have about this being a great place to level up, and it is, but the fact that most of the bird type monsters, possessing the ability to inflict stone status, that's the main threat here. But those types of monsters possess that capability, so that is the main deterring factor in sticking around here for too long. But what is nice is that even though we have both of the warp spells, I'm still going to walk it on back to the surface in attempts to acquire as much experience as I possibly can. Every little bit helps. It really does. But I also do want to try to find a green dragon. I really thought that they were a trigger encounter for one of those treasure chests, but I was wrong about that. And yeah, there are some dungeons, this being one of, well, technically, I call everything a dungeon. I try not to, because I really do know that that can come across as misleading, and I do not want to do that at all. But some areas the game doesn't consider a dungeon, and other areas the game does consider a dungeon. There's different hierarchies and classes and tiers and whatever word you would want to use to classify what's being talked about. Typically speaking, though, you have what I call a dungeon and then a story dungeon. So right here, I would consider this a story dungeon, mostly because a key item that is important to the story is located in this setting, in this environment. But I also consider the Marsh Cave, where an important story item was found. I consider that a story dungeon as well. I considered, most definitely the Terra Cavern and Mount Gulg, or Mount Gulge, whichever way it's actually pronounced. Definitely consider that a story dungeon. So it's really up to each player's interpretation, each person's interpretation. Now sometimes you just go into an area that is simply a cave or whatever its natural environment may be. Of course that's rare because pretty much everywhere we have gone in the game so far has ended up, housing some kind of important item. Story related, of course. I'm not talking about, equipment. Never talking about, something as basic as that. But I do try to be mindful and to be careful of just throwing certain terms around, such as dungeon, because there are some locations that are legit dungeons. So I guess I may try to adopt a better naming convention or a better system, and please definitely sound off in the comments with your feedback on this. But I may come up with like a numbering system or maybe even a lettering system, however, to rank a dungeon. Instead of calling them dungeon or story dungeons, I may still keep that as far as a story dungeon. Whenever you hear me say that, you know it's something related directly to a crystal. So that will be something that I will be working on in the near future. Can't make any promises that it will go into effect in the very next episode, but I will definitely try my best to implement this before I beat this game. But also, if everyone is interested enough and would like for me to pursue this, this could be a central theme that I continue to use in not only future Final Fantasy games that are played, but in future RPGs where it could be easily implemented. So, like I say, if this sounds like something that interests you enough for me to actually pursue and put into practice, then please sound off in the comments and let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Or simply let me know if you're interested or if you don't care. I won't, regardless of the outcome, it will not hurt my feelings either way. But please, if you feel compelled, give me some feedback. I do believe we are almost back out of here. It really doesn't seem like it, because compared to other areas that we have explored in the past, this is a relatively straightforward location. That'll be my placeholder word instead of a dungeon. This is a rather straightforward location, but the surprising factor here is that it is taking so long to explore and get back to the surface, and here we go. Alright. see how this plays out. Not sure how many hit points it has. Could have been worse had shield not been put in place. And let's see. Okay, let's get this. No, it's dead, but it looked like Ice 3 did a good bit of damage. And wow, okay. Over 1,000 experience just for that. 5,000 gil too. Wow. That is pretty impressive. So, I am definitely glad I was able to show that off. If I'm being honest, as I was beginning to think, well, I'm not going to be able to include that in the recording. And look how close we were to leaving. Wow, so I am definitely all the more glad that we encountered the green dragon. But a super, sorry, I think my voice gave out, but a super important factor that I'm trying to keep in mind is to level up as much as possible. It's not because I want the game to become easy. I really don't think that's going to be the case, because we are getting very close to taking on the water crystal. It's probably going to be in the next episode. We're that close. But as you can see, the knight is only capable of casting magic one time. And keep in mind, this is easy mode. This isn't normal mode. So if this is the case for easy mode, think of how much more challenging it would be under a normal mode. Always blows my mind to think about. But I don't... I really am torn right now, because we are in the 5,000 experience requirement in order to level up again. And I don't want to keep playing and drag any given recording on for what seems like forever, just for the sake of, you know, leveling up, you know, 1 or 2 times. But as everyone is witnessing, it's requiring more and more experience just to level up 1 time. It's taking longer. As I said at some point way back in the past, it's taking longer to level up. But I don't want to try to level grind off screen either. Literally. I don't want to have a weird gap between recordings, where at the end of one recording I'm whatever level the party's at, and then at the start of the next recording, the next episode, we're whatever 2, 3, maybe even more levels than that ahead. So this is yet another factor that I'm asking for everyone's feedback on. I want to be as authentic as possible. I really do. I want to be as genuinely authentic and provide as immersive of an experience as possible. I want everyone to feel like even though I know that you all know that you are not actually playing this game, I want the takeaway, the main experience, to feel like you have actually been part of this journey. As if you were the one holding the controller in your hands and playing the game. I know there's only so much that I can do in that regard, because you are simply watching and not actually doing and playing, and that's a topic that I talked about again at some point in the past. But I want to be as inclusive as I possibly can. And of course that always comes down to personal preference as well. No two people are alike. What I personally find enjoyable and entertaining, other people may not. Some people may, but not everybody does. And that's perfectly okay, because that's one of the many factors that makes us all different. Uniquely different in an awesome way. So, with that being said, I may attempt to level up one more time. And then in the next episode, we will be in the next story dungeon. And I'm hoping that in that location, got over 3,100 experience needed. But I'm hoping in that location that the experience will really ramp up. It should. It normally does. Whenever we have gotten to an actual story dungeon in the past, it normally really ramps up. So this is definitely what I'm hoping will happen. Because the main takeaway from everything that I've been saying over the past however many minutes, the focal point is on our knight. I want to try to get everybody, of course, collectively, because everybody still requires the same amount of experience to level up, but I definitely want the knight to be able to cast more than one spell. Before he needs to, go stay at an inn. That's just silly to only have one MP. And yeah, I know, our white wizards can very easily carry the party in healing and restorative spells. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the white mage and white wizard job. But trust me when I say this, there's times where you can easily get in a situation where you need a certain type of white magic spell cast more than once, or you need to alternate turns. You need to have the knight cast a certain spell so that the white wizard can be freed up to really help. As a for instance, someone may get down to the the critical stage with their health, and Cure 4 is the only remedy, to fully restore their health. Well, if the knight is out of MP and can't help free something up, then now you're obligated to use your White Wizard's turn to cast something like Shield or some other spell that the knight has at the ready but simply can't cast because he's out of MP. And then the character that is close to being knocked out, they're just left in limbo. They're left, at the complete mercy of the enemy to take mercy and pity on them and not attack them, which generally does not happen, especially in these kind of games. This level up did surprise me. I had actually, been keeping track of it, keeping up with it, but I hadn't over the recent past, so when we leveled up, it did surprise me. And still nothing. No MP increase for the night. Well, that just makes my mind up for me. I'm not going to continue to subject everyone to this, because as just noticed, even though I didn't really notice because I was so quick to close the screen out, yeah, we require right in the middle of the 17,000 experience range to level up, and that's not going to be anytime soon in this area, unfortunately. So I'm going to rest up and save our progress, and in the very next episode we're going to be seeing what we got to do in order to travel to the Sunken Shrine. But in the meantime, I do have an assignment and a request of everyone. Do be thinking on everything that I have said, but everything where I have requested feedback. I may not be able to act on it, on any comments or feedback that any of you leave real time, since all of these recordings are being made pretty much back to back. However, one thing I do promise is that as soon as I can begin to implement certain things based on your feedback, I will get to work on those things. As always, thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all in the next episode. LP Guru, signing out.